everybody, it's Maria from the Kent Memorial Library. I'm here with a craft I just made, and I thought I would share it with you in case it's something you might want to try yourself. So I have this wooden planter. This is a craft that I made for the Chamber. The Kent Chamber of Commerce is having an event, and people are painting planters or doing something special with them. And this is what I chose to do. So my planter, again, it's a wooden planter, and the planter was given to me to decorate or paint how I would like to. You can get these planters right online. You can go to Amazon, and they sell them individually or in a pack, and they're a little less than $10. If you're really motivated, you can actually make them. If you notice, it's just rough wood. So if you have some old wood laying around and you want to tinker, you definitely can make a planter yourself. It doesn't have to be a planter. You could definitely use some barn board, salvaged wood. You could also make a picture frame, or if you have a mirror that has a rough frame, you could decorate it this way as well. So what I did, because I like nature, is I went out for a hike to one of my favorite spots, and I took a bag with me, and I looked around primarily on the floor as I was hiking for different things that I might like to put on my planter. And generally I look at fallen logs. I don't want to take anything that's growing, but there's lots of things on the ground as you're walking that you can pick up and use for your project. So as I was walking, I found things like mushrooms, and I found acorns, some really nice berries that give it a pop of color, and some different barks, okay, taken right off of some fallen limbs. Pine cones. There's always all kinds of different sizes of pine cones out there. And I did take some moss, which is living, and I really generally don't encourage anyone to take moss, but I did take some moss. So those are the things I found, and I filled my bag, and I came back home. And then I took a look at what I had, and basically I knew I had 4 sides that I wanted to decorate. So I took 4 pieces of copy paper, and I laid them out, and I put down what I wanted each side to look like. So I kind of laid everything out on a piece of paper, and then took a good look at it and decided, yes, this is what I wanted it to look like. And then I did this 4 times. When I was happy with my design, I then decided I'm going to glue it using a hot glue gun. And by the way, I would say this craft is for adults, but you definitely can do it with kids, but they need supervision. And for instance, you're using a hot glue gun. You're also using a chemical at the end, which I don't recommend any child uses that chemical. It's definitely adult only. And even then, some adults maybe shouldn't use that chemical. So you're going to need a hot glue gun and some glue sticks. This works the best. It's quick and it adheres strong. So I basically took my designs off of each piece of paper, and I started on one face, and I glued it the way I wanted it. Doesn't take much glue to adhere everything. All right. What I did, I used a little Yankee ingenuity, and I created a box. And I took a box and I actually cut a hole that's about the size of the planter, and then I used a few pieces of cardboard to kitty corner so that the planter doesn't go straight through. And the reason I did this was because when you glue together one side and then you go to glue the next side, you don't want to put it on a surface just like that. You want to protect it. You want it to be into this hole, right? And you're going to just kind of put it like that, and then you're going to glue, and then you can move to your next panel without damaging what you already glued. Okay, so that's what I did to keep everything so it doesn't get wrecked, you know, as you're going from one panel to another. And then keep this because you're going to need it again. Oh, and here I just want to show you when I said it doesn't have to be a planter, it could be a board. When I first had this idea, I wanted to test it on a board just to see what it would look like. So I just took a 2x4. But like I said, if you had a really nice barn board, it would work nice and it would be lovely. You can make all kinds of different things. So back to this, once you've glued, hot glued, all your natural findings on each side. All right, you're not quite done. You could stop there if you wanted to make it a more simple craft. However, it is not waterproof at that point, and things could easily be picked off or fall off. So I went one step further and I put a varnish, a very heavy glass-like varnish over the entire thing, so that it now is waterproof and it is much stronger. So in essence, if it was put outside, it would be fine. And it's going to take a lot more for things to fall off. It also gives a nice glassy finish. It looks kind of neat. So once you've hot glued all the items on all the sides, your next big project, and it's a little bit more involved, is the varnish. What I used, I went right down to Ace Hardware of Kent. They have really good stuff there, and I found this. It's a pour-on glass-like varnish that's very easy to use. It gives you great directions, but I'll run through it quickly for you so you see how involved it could be. What you're going to need is you're definitely going to need to put on some gloves, because this stuff is no joke. Once it hardens, it hardens. So you're going to want to wear your gloves, and basically what you do is it's 2 bottles, all right? One is the actual varnish and one is the hardener. So it's as simple as taking 2 plastic cups and putting a mark where you want to pour up to, and a little goes a long way. So and don't worry if you mix too much at one time, it's okay. This is how you learn how much to use. But literally you can see where my mark is, and my mark is generally right at the, it's just like right there. It's maybe a ½ inch up the cup, okay? So the trick is this. You pour equal amounts of both of these, okay? The hardener goes into one cup, the varnish goes into the other, but you pour the same amount of each. And once you've done that, then you're going to take what's in this cup, pour it into this cup, and then you're going to take a wooden stick, any kind of wooden stick, and you're going to stir. And stir and stir and stir, and you're going to stir for 2 minutes. You're going to look at your clock. Your hand's going to hurt. You're going to switch your hand. Okay? And then after 2 minutes, you're going to take what's in that cup, and you are going to pour it back into, you're going to take it off the wooden stick, and you're going to pour it right back into the other cup. And then once it's in the other cup, and it's going to be goopy, so you're going to want to do one of these, get it all into the other cup, and you're going to stir and stir and stir for another 1 minute. And why you do this is just, you have to make sure the stuff is thoroughly mixed, because if it is not thoroughly mixed, that is when it doesn't harden correctly. So as long as you do that, it hardens right up, okay? So 1 minute has passed and this is ready. And simply what you're going to do is, once again, you're going to use your box that you have the hole, and you're going to make sure you put something underneath it, like another box. All right, and once again, you're going to pick your side you're going to start with, and you're going to tip your planter up, and you're going to lay it there so nothing gets hurt. All right, and then you're just going to pour. You're going to pour, not all of it at once, but you're going to work your way through. You're going to pour And you're going to take any kind of little brush, or even if you don't have like a little paintbrush, another wooden popsicle stick. And the point is to evenly distribute the varnish, but thickly. So you're going to just take your time and make sure everything's coated with varnish, right? Right up to the edges, but you got to be careful of the edges. You don't want to overdo it because you don't want the varnish to drip down the sides. So you're going to do this, right, a couple times just to make sure that you've heavily coated, but yet it's not running off the sides. And once you're happy with how it looks, usually about 30 seconds later, you might see some air bubbles coming up. And the best thing to do, if you're like, oh, I don't want the drying with those air bubbles, is take a straw. And you're going to take the straw, and I'm just going to push this off of here so you can see me. Okay. You're going to take the straw, and you're just going to blow. And pretend you're using a hairdryer, basically. And you're going to blow, and as you blow, you're going to notice all the air bubbles are going to go away. And that gets rid of your air bubbles. Now what you're doing, once that panel is all set with varnish, is you're going to keep that side right in that box like it was, okay? Because now this needs to dry. And it needs to dry for, at least for this way, for 48 hours. And then you don't want to really mess with it too much, you know, for at least a full day or two, okay? But after 24 hours, it's set, and you could turn and do the next panel. You just don't want to like stick your nails in it or anything like that, because you might actually scuff it up. So the important part here is that when you're set with that panel and you like the way it looks, you need to cover it. If you're like me and you have pets, and I have cats, and they want to paw everything, and they will paw everything. So I don't want them messing with it. The other thing is, believe it or not, just particles in the air will settle on it, dust, and it's really a clear sheen, and you want to keep it clear and clean. So again, what I did was I found a tall box that I can just place on top of it. Here's my tall box. Oops. And I literally just put the box over it for the night. Okay? And then the next morning, I just took the box off. And everything looked great. And my side panel was done. And then the next day, I would repeat again. So 4 total days to get it looking nice and glossy and shiny. Okay? And this is what you're left with. It's a really neat planter. And it's really fun to do because you get to walk outside and find things that you would like to put on it. So I hope this was fun and inspiring, and maybe it'll make you go outside and at least have a little walk in nature, and maybe even make something fun out of what you find.